can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Hello and welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's a pleasure as always to be joined by Elliot Grigg, which of course means we are in preview mode. We're previewing, well, some sort of a return here of Elliot's one of his favorite fighters. I know he's the number one fan of Deontay Wilder as he returns on Friday, 27th June in Kansas against Tyrrell Anthony Herndon. Herndon, maybe not have heard of him, but he's 24 and 5, 15 KOs, and obviously Wilder needs no introduction. But they are indeed fighting on Friday, the 27th of June. So yeah, an interesting one. Before we get into it, please do subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. All of your boxing needs under one roof. So please do check it out as well. As these previews, we've got final prediction videos and plenty of other stuff coming your way. So do have a look and see what else we offer on the channel. But we are here in preview mode, as I mentioned. Deontay Wilder, Tyrrell Anthony Herndon. Well, a few talking points I want to discuss with you, Elliot, as the Bronze Bomber super fan. But first and foremost, give me your thoughts on this matchup and a quick prediction as to how you see this one playing out.
You know what, Phil, thank you very much for that eloquent introduction. I'm excited, obviously, as you said, I'm a massive Deontay Wilder fan. I think I'm not the only one, considering that people, kind of keep encouraging Deontay Wilder back, despite the kind of disappointing last couple of fights we've seen, obviously against Zhang and Parker, where he looked at a kind of a shadow of the former Deontay Wilder. So I think people are quite keen to obviously inspire the kind of earlier Wilder back, and whether it's just because he was inactive beforehand, people were talking about maybe he sort of found a sort of a calm he didn't have previously, and therefore it kind of affected him in the ring. Maybe people are trying to sort of engage, I suppose, that part of him that was so brutal beforehand, and it's obviously one of the best finishers in the sort of heavyweight division of all time, knockout artist. So I think my thoughts are I'm excited to have him back. I want him to be back, to be honest with you. I really do. I feel like if he can kind of put a run together, any sort of run together, mate. There's massive fights out there for someone like Deontay Wilder. There really are. I think, we've talked previously, I mean, it's not there at the moment, but we've talked previously about what could Usyk do against someone like Wilder, like, if he touches him once sort of thing. We talked about, like, Joshua versus Wilder, like, who lands first there. Even Dubois versus Wilder would be a great fight. So all those sort of white fights that could be there, but he just has to show us that he's kind of got the ability to do that, and he hasn't done that in the last few fights. So hopefully this is one of those kind of Hellenius fights where you think, like, serve someone up to Deontay Wilder, let's have a concussive victory. Let's start a bit momentum again, and then let's kind of maybe start to sort of rebuild a bit that way rather than sort of go in against. I backed him to beat Parker. I did. I thought he'd hurt Parker. I thought he'd stop Parker. Parker's obviously on a bit of a resurgence, to be perfectly honest with him. He's looking good, but I backed Wilder to win that fight, and then Zhang as well. Like Zhang, is an old man, obviously as well, and I kind of thought, if Wilder touches Zhang, Zhang stopped fighting after about 4 rounds. Surely Wilder can get to him and stop him, but it didn't happen there either. So for me, I just want to see I want to see a bit of spite back. I really do. And I think I'm looking at obviously Tyrrell Anthony Hendon here. I'm thinking you're not a massive puncher, like 15 KOs, 24 wins as well. So I think maybe that plays into an advantage for Wilder as well. And I think Wilder should get to him hopefully and stop him at some point. I think he's a level beneath the last two guys he's fought, to be honest. And I'm thinking this really has been geared up to a Deontay Wilder stoppage. So I'm going to go with that as a prediction. And I think if it doesn't happen like that, I'm going to be worried that, that we're not going to see the Deontay Wilder that we saw previously, or even a version of it ever again. But I'm going to go
Yeah,
stoppage. I'm going to go maybe mid rounds, I think, somewhere like 4 to 6 for me.
interesting. Yeah, mate. Let's be honest. To put it bluntly, Deontay Wilder has to stop Herndon. I think for me, he has to do it within 5 rounds, really. Max. Like you look at Hendon and it's 5 defeats, four of them have been via stoppage against nobody as big a puncher as Deontay Wilder. But then is Deontay Wilder, is that version still exist? Do you know what I mean? So we shall see. As you said, I think he needs a Hellenius like 1 round, 2 round, just to get his confidence back. Just to tell himself that he can still do it. I think he will get that. This I just tailor made for him, isn't it? To look good and to get that stoppage. So if he's not stopping Hendon, um, early on, then warning signs for me. So yeah, has to win. I think he will win via stoppage, and it's going to be early. I'm going to say Wilder wins within 2 rounds. That's where I'm going to go. So yeah, I'm hoping you're nodding there in approval. You're hope you're probably thinking you hope I'm correct. But yeah, you kind of touched on it there, mate. This version of Wilder and so on and so forth. What level is he now? Really? Like, is he, even if he wins this, like at 39 and what we've seen of him lately, like, is he actually just finished?
Very tough question. Very tough question. I think we talk about what level Deontay Wilder is now. I think like Deontay Wilder, like as a boxer has not really ever been, considered high level. He's not like a Usyk, he's not like a Fury, he's not like some of those sort of fighters. Like basically was more a case of when he hits you, you're gonna go. And like until that point, he might look terrible. He might throw out a couple of limb jabs. He might throw out some massive overhand rights that don't go anywhere. So I kind of feel like his ability it's never been possibly like it's been if you have to say world level it's a world title, but it's a kind of weird. It wasn't necessarily like established world level. If you wouldn't teach anyone to necessarily fight like that, it was kind of the power master a lot of it. If he's finished, I don't think he's finished physically, to be honest with you. I don't. I think the question for me is he finished mentally? Has he essentially earned a lot of money? Have those fights against sort of Tyson Fury extinguished the fire he had? And I think that's something that's the kind of question that seems still to be out. I think looking at the fights he had against Parker, the fight against Parker was bizarre. He never seemed to got going at all. Just seemed to kind of be in there going through the motions. Again with Zhang, he never seemed to really be the old Wilder with that sort of spite. And, the build up that we saw with Fury, especially talking about bodies on his records and all that sort of stuff. Just that aspect of Deontay Wilder doesn't seem to be there at the moment. But I think, considering he relied on power, considering he wasn't the best boxer, I'm reluctant to say that he's finished. I think there's still time there for him, to be perfectly honest with you. I think maybe, you're probably looking really at a good 18 months probably if he kind of comes around here. Maybe 2 or 3 fights after this, big fights after this, probably is what you're looking at age-wise. So no, I'm going to say no, but I'm also not going to argue with you if you tell me that you think he is finished on the same call. What do you reckon?
I unfortunately do think he's done, and that's no disgrace. Like it happens to everybody, whether that's father time catching up with him or yeah, it's just this has he Wilder's mentally checked out maybe. That's the way I look at it. And he's had a great career. He was phenomenal. Seeing his heyday, oh, unbelievable. Touched anything and it went over. But yeah, I think that Fury second fight and the trilogy fights like that take a lot out of you, clearly. And I think since then he hasn't been the same man. But yeah, you say big fights going forward. Um, One I want to throw at you before we round off, which never thought this would ever be a fight even imaginable, but it seems to be now, and there has been talk of it potentially fight early on in 2026. Deontay Wilder against Dave Allen. Eh, What what happens in that fight? Do you think Wilder wins, or do you actually fear that this version of Dave Allen could actually beat the Bronze Bomber?
First off, before I answer this question, let me ask you where's this fight taking place? Is this a Doncaster? Is this a Doncaster special? Is it headlining? Is it ever in Saudi? Where would Wilder Allen in your mind is the perfect venue to host that fight, please?
Wait, Doncaster Stadium? No, I don't see Wilder fighting in the UK. Well, maybe he would. Maybe it would be an
The
O2 or
big
something.
homecoming for Dave Allen.
Maybe it would be an
Deontay
O2,
Wilder.
but let's say it's in Saudi for argument's
Right.
sake.
You know what? I feel like with Dave Allen, I like Dave Allen. I think Dave Allen can box. I do believe. I think he's a good boxer. To be honest, I've always felt that like Dave Allen, when he gets to a certain level, comes unstuck. And I also feel like I couldn't have him beating Deontay Wilder for the simple reason that even though I think David Price is a better fighter than technically a better boxer than Deontay Wilder, he nearly finished Dave Allen, didn't he? And I feel like Dave Allen does take shots on occasion, but he's got a good chin. But I mean, he's got a good chin against the likes of Johnny Fisher, possibly, who's obviously a good fighter. But I think if Wilder caught him, which I think he would at some point, I would think Dave Allen would go. So I'd have to back Deontay Wilder to beat Dave Allen. But again, Paul, if you're going to sit here and tell me that you think Dave Allen beats Deontay Wilder, all power to you. And we'll clip that, we'll short that, we'll get that out on multiple platforms, and that'll be something you'll have to live with until it happens, till we find the result.
Yeah, I'm all in. Dave Allen. Dave Allen stops Deontay Wilder. I'm the tell. I'm
There's your
not,
headline.
at this stage. I actually like. I love Dave Allen. You know that, and I would back him almost to beat anybody. Could fight Tyson Fury tomorrow, and I'd be backing Dave Allen to win. Um, but in all seriousness, all joking aside, I think this version of Deontay Wilder, something tells me that Dave Allen could just survive the early rounds and get to him. Just get to him because yeah, which is a mad thing to say because it's ridiculous. It is a ridiculous thing to say, really, when you think about it. But I actually don't think it's impossible. You know what? I would actually say there'd be quite a few people who would maybe agree with me. I'm not saying more people would, but I'd say that you get quite a few who would actually think Dave Allen potentially beats the Bronze Bomber. So yeah, mad, mate, mad conversation. Mad that we're even talking about it. But here we are, guys. That's all we've got time for today. On this preview for Deontay Wilder and Tyrrell Anthony Herndon on Friday, 27th of June. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on that fight and all the other things we've just discussed of whether Wilder's finished, what level he's at now, and how he gets on against the White Rhino, Dave Allen. As always, hit that subscribe button if you're not doing so already. Loads of content coming at you on a daily basis on the channel, so please do check it out. And Elliot, thanks for joining me, mate. I'll speak to you again very soon.
Thank you very much, Paul. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.